What's up, guys? Thanks for joining us on this awesome Friday evening. So, as promised, guys, we do have a lot of good things going on tonight. So, we are joined with Jesse from Culture Shock. Jesse.
How's it going, guys?
So, we live, Jesse. We live. So, go
Nice,
ahead.
nice.
Introduce yourself, Jesse. However you want to introduce yourself, bro.
All right, what's up, guys? Name's Jesse Rosales from Brownsville. Culture Shock Collectibles is our store. Yeah, man. Find us on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. You know, all over the place.
Gotta, gotta get that YouTube money. Hey, where you at right now? Because I see you're at a hotel room, man. What show you at right now, and how's it going?
Good, man. We are at the Dallas Card Show in Allen, Texas. Marriott, huge show, man. Over 700 tables. National show. You got like Beckett. I mean, guys that know cards and know the card companies. So you got like Beckett here. You got like SGC here. Um, Cards HQ, which is a new shop that's opening up in Atlanta, is here buying stuff. Like just tons of like it's a huge show. It's got a lot of corporate backing. So yeah, man, tons of YouTubers are here, like making videos and everything. I mean, we got our little video that we'll be working on later, but
Nice.
we're not big like some of these guys that people know, like Card Collector Two, Mojo Sports, like Roth Cards. Like there's big guys that are in the hobby that are here. So it's a great show to come by if you love sports cards or memorabilia.
Cool, cool, cool. So I saw. I'm gonna spoil everybody, bro. I saw you posted that you got that Megan Fox, right? The Transformers.
Yeah, yep,
Yeah.
yep.
What's good? Did you trade for it? You found a good deal for it, or what happened, or what?
I traded for it. Yeah, I got a buddy out of Houston that he always wants cards, and I always want memorabilia. Um, I like obviously I could sell the cards at the show, but it's harder to come by the memorabilia, so
Mhm.
I'd rather trade.
Sounds good. Sounds good. We got Juan Campos. Why you late? Hey, bro, don't worry about it, Jay. Good things come to those who wait, bro. Nah. So,
My bad. It
but
was my fault. My fault.
I mean, it was half not. It's more my fault because, like, for some reason, I don't know why, bro. But when I try to share it, it always messes up on my phone. Like, and my brother, if my brother's watching, he's gonna give me shit, bro, because he wants me to get an iPhone or whatever. But I mean, I'm a Galaxy
Um,
guy, bro. I'm a
hey,
simple guy, you know.
I'm team iPhone.
I mean,
I agree with it. I agree with
all
him.
right. Well, this is a good podcast, guys. No, I'm just fucking with you. So, but no, thank you for joining us, Jesse. So, for everybody here, I think I've done a lot of deals with Jesse in the past. I can proudly say I got my Paul McCartney from him, which I haven't sold. Still have some of my personal that hasn't made it to the shop because there's just something that I just want to let go, you know.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, I remember. Yeah, I remember you got that. Yeah, you've gotten some grills
yeah,
from me in the past.
yeah,
Yeah, things
but,
that you can't find nowadays. That's for sure.
yeah, 100%, bro, guaranteed. But thanks for joining, Jesse. So we'll keep it simple, man. So basically, what I like to do is I always like to start off with what got you into collecting. So for me, my dad worked at an arcade in Far. He would get a lot of like Pokemon cards. I guess the people in the prize counter would rip them, and then my dad would bring like Charizard cards, and then me being the underprivileged and diabolical person, I would sell them. I'd sell them to buy like hot Cheetos and cheese and ice cream and shit. And kind of from there is where I got my hustle. With Jay and those guys previously, we did some shows together. They made some money. They were really happy. But me being, again, kind of a jackass, I'm like, bro, I can make more money. Like, the fuck you talking about? And I just kind of fell in love with the man. And then, finding the stuff like that one thing you're always looking for. You know what I mean? So, and I
Yep.
can tell you, bro, I think I have the collection back here of the Inside Out set, and I think I bought most of them from you to complete the whole set. So,
I
and
remember.
like,
Yep, yep.
yeah, and my
I mean,
chick's like, you better not sell that one. I said, I'm not gonna sell that one, at least not right now. But pretty cool.
nice.
So just if you want to, what's going on, Chris? So again, man, just let us know what got you into collecting, what you started with. Just give us a little bit of back history there, man.
Yeah, man. I mean, I grew up. I mean, I'll tell everybody I'm 50 years old. A lot of people don't believe that, but I mean, yeah, I'm 50. So anyway, I was born 73. So like in the 80s, I would buy. You go to the corner store or whatever. You'd see pack of tops, football, whatever, baseball. Hey mom, can I get a pack of cards or whatever? Obviously back then they were like 15 cents, 25 cents, like super cheap, you know. So that kind of was what sparked my interest. And then like once I got to like high school, like junior high, high school, I really, really got into like comic books and sports cards heavy. Um, there used to be a shop on Pecan almost like close to Pecan in 23rd. It was called Mechanic Comics. You're talking like 88, 89, somewhere in there. Um, that was like my first spot to go, all every week, get my new comics and all that stuff. I didn't start a pull box until later on with like Helgi, when Helgi opened up Myth Adventures.
Mhm.
He had a small little shop on 10th Street. Actually, if anybody ever went to my Culture Shock that we have on 10th Street, um, that was Helgi's first location. So Myth Adventure started out there, and it was really cool to take over his spot. Um,
Damn, that's cool.
yeah,
I didn't know
and
that.
so yeah, and like as far as like flipping and all that selling, there was a couple shops in Brownsville that I would go to like every single day after school. Like it's just every single day. Like I would just go hang out. I was that little teenager that was at the shop and always there, buying or trying to. We'd always play this game called Papa Pack. Like nowadays, people call it a pack battle or whatever, but it was basically you open a pack, I open a pack. Whoever has the best cards wins. The loser pays for both the packs. The winner keeps all the cards. So we
Nice.
would do that a lot. The owner one day suggested, man, he was just like, "Hey, dude, I know you got a lot of stuff. Like you're always buying. I always see like the cards you pull. Why don't you set up at a card shop, at a card show?" And I was like, man, I can't set up at a card show. He's like, why not? He's like, well, I'm like 16 years old. Like I don't have a store. I don't have a business. And he's like, so what? I'm like, what do you mean? He's like, it doesn't matter. He's like, just go. I'll give you the guy's number. Call him. It's like $30. Go set up. So yeah, so I did. I mean, I kind of got the hustle from my mom. Like my mom's a single mom, so she was always like doing extra things to make sure we had everything we wanted or whatever. So she was always like cutting grass or cleaning houses or doing like besides her regular job. So I just got that mentality from her. Like you gotta make money however you can.
Mhm.
So so once I did that first show, man, I got hooked because I did probably like $800. And you're talking about $800 in 1990. That was probably like it could have been $8,000. So I mean,
Yeah.
that was a lot of money back then.
Gas was cheap.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, $1. But yeah, man. So then I just went on and kept doing shows, and eventually I got into toys, probably like 1997. Um, I just started noticing a lot more toy vendors showing up at the card shows, and they were selling Hot Wheels, Star Wars, McFarlane, starting lineups before the McFarlane Sports Picks came out, Spawn toys, all that stuff, and they were starting to make more money than we were as far as the card dealers. So I just started asking questions, and luckily the guys that I asked questions weren't jerks and helped me out and showed me about treasure hunts and uh, specific action figures that come out, variants, the variant cover. McFarlane was real big on doing like a different jersey color on the sports ones or a different paint on the Spawn. So there was always like a variant figure or like a chase figure in his cases. So I learned about that, and yeah, man, I just basically just did shows for like 20 some years. I never really wanted to shop until I got to a point where I was making so much money that I just couldn't justify not having the shop.
Mhm.
Because obviously, when you have the side hustle, the government lets you do 20 grand and whatever. You don't have to claim that on your taxes. Now,
Yeah.
of course, Biden's trying to get it to $600. Luckily, they've postponed that the last 2 years.
Yeah.
uh, but I just got to a point where I was like, man, I need expenses. Like I need bills.
Mhm.
Because I'm making all this money and I can't justify not claiming it on my taxes anymore or anything like that, So,
Like,
so then Culture Shock was born, you know.
nice. And we have Marco Gonzalez coming into the chat, man. He says, which was the best card shop in Brownsville when you were growing up?
I mean, I really like that. Actually, his stepdad is the guy I was talking about that told me to do the show.
Nice.
What's up, Marco? Um, Yeah, man. I mean, I really liked yours. Obviously, Nino's was a good one. But I was Bert. His stepdad's name was Bert. Bert's Card Shop. That was my favorite. He was just cool guy, down to earth. Fun to talk to. Nino was a jerk. This one guy, Nino. We all like. He's famous in Brownsville, like grumpy old man. Like you'd go in there buy a pack of cards. You pay with a 20. He'd be like, "That's all you're buying? You have $20? Like." buy something else. Don't you want to buy something else? And Bert wasn't like that. Bert was more chill and, would talk to you and all that stuff. So definitely Bert's Card Shop was the one growing up. And then I actually started one around like 90, I'd say like 97, 98. But it only lasted about 6 months. I really couldn't work it. I was still working for my dad full time. I had a couple of employees, but they were like younger kids or whatever. And, I mean, obviously I expected too much from them. And, you can't really put a 15-year-old there to run a shop and you're not there,
Yeah, no, I get you.
Yeah,
Marco,
so that didn't work out. But I mean, it was,
Marco
I mean,
said, I worked for you.
But I mean, it was fun,
I get you. No, that's cool. That's cool. So, that's kind of what I want to talk about, man. Because I know you and me talked a little bit when we had like the little pre-call with all the equipment and stuff, and you were talking about you opened up some previous shops and it didn't work out. So, when you opened up the very first one, what were some of those key takeaways that kind of helped you open up that second one? Like, where were some of those lessons? Because a lot of times people in our industry, and I mean, you see it all the time. Just seeing, we'll see these random shops pop up. Like even when I popped up, right, Adam Collections, like, who the fuck is this? And then they're like, oh, it's this guy from here and so forth or whatever, right? So, like, what was some of those key takeaways you got from that first shop that you want to make sure you implemented it within that second one you did?
Well, I mean, obviously the main thing again, the second one I didn't have any employees. It was all myself. But obviously I didn't. I learned not to hire the wrong people, obviously, or to be too trusting. Um, and really it was just I finally had more time. Well, I was promised more time. Again, this is still working for my dad. I told him I wanted to open up another shop. This time it was a toy shop, so I had way more inventory. Like it was a legit shop the second time. The first one was like just a little tiny card shop, with singles and a few boxes and stuff. But the second one was called Jesse's Collectible Toys. It's actually in the same building where I'm at right now, because I was always in my dad's shopping center. So the second one, he promised me that if I worked from 9 to 4 at the optical at his place, then I could open my shop after 4. So I was doing 4 to 9 were my hours, and but he would always I'd go open the shop, he'd send somebody over. Hey, your dad says you need to close the shop and come back to the optical because we're busy or whatever, and I'd be like, So obviously, one of the most important things as a shop owner is the shop being open when you say it's going to be open. Yeah. Like, it doesn't matter if you have like weird hours like Neon Comics.
Homer's open like 2 hours a day,
4:30 to 9 or whatever. As long as you're there when you say you're going to be there, that's the most important thing. So with me not being able to be there when I was supposed to be there, it was just like I'm just going to close it because I hate being like that. I hated being that flake, and there was no social media back then or anything like that. They couldn't message me like, hey, are you here? Are you open? Whatever. They would just come by, it'd be locked. After they come by a couple of times and it's locked, they're not gonna come back again, Yeah. So that's the one thing. If you're gonna open a shop, make sure you can be there when you say you're gonna be there.
Very true, very true. And all right, cool, man, cool. So, in the comment section we have Anthony saying live in location. Thank you, Anthony, for joining us from RGV Elite, located in Edinburgh. And then we got Marco saying it was an OPI across the street from the Maverick Market. I worked for you. So.
Yep. Yeah, Mark was one of them, and he was young.
when he was younger.
Yep. And yeah, Mark. He was. I mean, he probably was like 15. I mean, he was young. And I was paying him under the table, and and then his mom was like, no, you need to pay him by the hour, and blah blah blah. And I'm like, no, I'm not gonna do all that tax thing. Like, like I'll give him $50 a week. That's what I can afford. So he'd show up after school. He'd show up after school and stuff, and but again, I mean, it's not. I mean, I don't blame anything on Marky. I mean, it's on me. I should have been there. I should have spent more time there. Again, I was working full time, so I couldn't do it. But yeah, man. I mean, again, it's good memories and learning experiences.
And the biggest thing, Jesse, I know we talked about before. You've been in the game for a long time. So when we talk about cards, toys, and today's market and stuff, like what was that transition you've seen? So like right now, for example, like you're at the card show, right? So obviously this is much love, great memories. We'll be back each other up. So obviously you're at a card show now. How would you compare today's card show to the card shows of the past? Like let's say from your original card show you did, like what are
Well,
some of the transitions you've seen in a good way and transitions you've seen in a bad way?
I mean, as far as like, let's just say like the crowd, like the amount of people. If you go back to say like end of 2020, like after once we started opening back up after COVID or whatever, beginning of 2021, those crowds probably rivaled the 90s. But dude, in the 90s for real, like when the card boom was happening, so you're talking like 1989 through like maybe 93 or so, it was so packed in those card shows that you couldn't walk. Like people would literally stand side by side and just like shift to go to the next, like go to the next table or whatever.
Mhm.
It was crazy. There was do you know where the HEB on Second Street is, like right off the expressway, like next
Yeah,
to the Olive Garden?
of
Okay,
course.
so
Yeah.
that used to be a Holiday Inn, and like a crazy big Holiday Inn. It had an indoor pool. It had like an indoor garden and like a restaurant in it. Like it was a crazy expensive, real nice hotel. So there
Mhm.
was an old man named Willis. I just remember his last name was Willis, and he would put on the card shows there, and he would rent like all the rooms because they have like connect those connecting rooms or whatever.
Yeah.
And he would rent like the whole room. I don't remember how big it was, but it was a pretty big space. And I mean, like I said, you couldn't even walk in there. You couldn't even walk. Obviously now the prices are way different. I mean, back then, you know, packs were like a quarter, 50 cents, a dollar. Um, cards were always like a dollar, $5, 10. An expensive card was like $40, $30, something like that.
Mhm.
Nowadays, I mean, a cheap card is $10.
Yeah.
I mean, you got cards selling for millions of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, 50,000, 20. I mean, crazy numbers.
Mhm.
Um, I'm afraid that a lot of people are going to lose money on these modern cards, like especially like guys that like whoever bought the Mac Jones one of one whatever for like 50 some $1,000, and now that card's worth pretty much worthless. You
Mhm.
know, like those, like you can only lose so much money until
Yeah.
you say, you know what, I'm not gonna do this anymore. Obviously, they got to be smart. They got to make
Mhm.
sure, like you need to don't prospect. I mean, if you're gonna prospect light. Like don't go and throw 100 grand at it. Obviously that's in different something that I can't understand or like we can't understand. Like we're not playing at that level.
Yeah.
But even on the lower level that we play at, like you can't go and spend thousands of dollars on, like I said, like Mac Jones or Desmond Ritter or something, like somebody you think is gonna blow up.
Yeah, I get you.
It's a better idea to wait. And even though you're gonna pay more once they blow up, it's better to just pay more, but to know that they're already gonna be a superstar, or they already won a Super Bowl, like Mahomes or something like that.
Yeah.
So the prices is one of the big things. The crowds are the other thing. I mean, again, it was like an era, a weird era. I mean, you can go back and see there's documentaries and stuff that have footage of old shows where it's just like so crazy packed and people, lines outside stores trying to get product and all this stuff. I mean, obviously we went a little. You guys caught a little bit of a glimpse of it during COVID when everybody was lining up at Target for Pokemon and for sports and all that stuff,
Yeah,
and
of course.
spending the night outside and all that stuff. You know, but it legit was crazy like that too back then. Like it was like mobs and all that stuff, like weird stuff. Obviously in the valley we didn't see that kind of stuff, but you'd see
Mhm.
it on the news in the big cities where people were just going crazy at the Toys R Us trying to buy everything. you know.
Mm. No, I
Um,
feel you. I feel you. Again, we got Roy and my brother's on for joining. Hopefully, he didn't hear me talking shit earlier, and if he did, he'll rewind the podcast. But no, that's cool, bro. So, and we talked about before like shows of the past, man. So you being in Dallas and everything, you've seen what's going on in the card market. So and the best thing about you, Jesse, is like you dabble in a lot of different areas. Like you do memorabilia, comics, Funkos, basically anything that you can make money off, right? Because that's the
yep,
that's the name of
exactly.
the game, right?
Yep.
So, which one of these categories is one of your favorites, and which one is your least favorite? Because like for me, like I love Funkos, I love comics. I fucking hate sodas, bro. Like the soda pop. Like I just like I'll pay somebody to take them back. You know what I mean? Like, I just don't like to deal with it. Figures, I'm like, okay, like I could do a figure and stuff, but like for me, like the sodas, bro, I just think are like the dumbest thing in the world. I just can't flip them. I don't know if I'm just a bad salesman, and I think I'm pretty decent, but I can't flip it. I can't flip a soda, bro. Like, what's one thing that you kind of seen like that you enjoy when it comes in, and one thing that when it comes in, you're kind of like, oh man, it's gonna be tough. It's gonna be difficult. Like, I don't want to deal with it.
Yeah,
What
I
are
mean,
those things?
I've been doing it so long that I kind of already know like what works for me. So I avoid the stuff I don't, and then there's markets that I know that I could be profitable in, but I don't know the market, so I stay away. Like video games, I know that there's a lot of money to be made in video games, but I couldn't tell you a dollar video game from $1,000 video game. You know, they've all looked the same to me. Same thing with like Yu-Gi-Oh or Magic. You know, I got no idea on that kind of stuff, so I try to stay away from that. But I mean, lately it's been action figures just because, and Funko because the market's down so bad. I mean, I know you love Funko,
Mhm.
but I mean, I ride the waves. I mean, I've always stayed relevant because I always ride the waves. As far as like, you know, I went through the Beanie Baby. Like I was a beanie. I sold Beanie Babies. Like I don't care. You know, I sold
Yeah.
Beanie Babies. You know, Tickle Me Elmos, Furbies. You know, the
Mhm.
this you name it. Whatever was the hot toy. I mean, even Pokemon cards in 1999 when they were hot. I cared nothing about them. I would buy all the packs out of Walmart, go sell them to my local card shop, and I'd pay like a dollar something for them, sell them to them for $4, and then they turn around and sell them for $7 or $8.
Mhm.
But obviously, if we were smart, we would have kept some of those packs. So those packs go for about $300 a piece
Yeah.
now,
Now, right?
you know. But it's
So
always been, yeah. So like, and my favorite is Star Wars and sports cards now. Like I've really fallen in love with sports cards again. Comics is another one of my favorites. Um, I've had to like comics is like kind of the way you are with your Funko collection. I'm
mhm.
kind of that way with my comic collect. Like I do let some stuff go, and I've sold a lot of stuff that I wish I didn't. But it's like that's my probably my favorite. 'Cause I just love art. Like I'm a
Yeah.
big like I love art. I love you know McFarlane, Michael Turner, Humberto Ramos. Like there's a I mean I can there's a list of artists that I could name that I love. But yeah, that's probably my that, and I'm really obsessed with the Clone Wars cartoons.
Mhm.
So I've been collecting a lot of Clone Wars, Star Wars stuff lately.
I get you. We got
Yeah.
Javier Keys Garcia in the chat here saying Jesse the Goat. And we got Miguel. Miguel's a loyal podcaster from like the first days. He does a lot of video games, bro. He's gonna be
Oh,
messaging you.
nice.
He's gonna be messaging you and trying to pull one on you, bro. No, I'm just kidding.
Right.
I got this one of a kind Donkey Kong. I'm just kidding. So
Nah, I'll be
um
like, I believe you, bro, but no, I don't want it.
So no, yeah, I mean, that's the biggest thing. So I know lately a lot of times, and it's kind of like what we talked about before. You have your team right now. You guys are doing two different shows. So I know you do some local. I know it's been a minute since you've done some local ones. But I know you do the bigger Comic Cons and the bigger card shows. And again, well, it's like a two-part question. Let's see, the bigger Comic Cons, how have you seen them grow from your first early times to now? And then vice versa when it comes to the valley. Like, do you think the valley is heading in the right direction? Because again, we do have a lot of different shows that are coming up in the valley. Some of them stomp on each other's toes and dates. Like, do you
Yep.
feel like that's gonna hurt the valley more, or is it gonna make those out of valley shows more valuable or better choices? Like, what do you think?
Yeah.
Let's talk about
I
that
mean,
for a minute.
I do think the amount of shows in the valley, like we can't support it right now. We're too small. Even though we have what 2 million people in the whole valley or whatever, and there are tons of collectors. Um, everybody just like everybody can't. There can't be so many. I mean, obviously Ramsey has built his, South Texas. I was there in the early years where, we were like, I mean, it was dead. And now it's like, oh man, it's awesome. It's like you can't wait to do that show nowadays. But I was there in the beginning when it was like, I think the first time I did his show, I probably made me like $1,200, and I was like, oh, like why did I pay $400 for this table? Because I had never. He was the first like big con I ever did. I
Okay.
like paying a big amount of money. I was used to like local shows before him. I was used to like $30 tables, $40 tables, $50 tables, maybe $100 if you did San Antonio shows or Austin shows or whatever. Um, But really, once I dipped my toes into the bigger market, like and got over my fear of the booth prices, because I mean,
Mhm.
even like probably the most we pay is like Comic Palooza, like $1,200 for the weekend. Um, the first time I did that, man, it scared the crap out of me, and I was like, oh my god, like I gotta sell $1,200 worth of stuff just before I even, just to get the money table back or whatever, it's the booth back. Um, but the local, as far as local, I mean, I really think that we have like, I really think Brownsville has room to grow. I think McAllen is lacking like a United Collectors type of deal.
Mhm.
Um, I know you have aspirations for shows. Maybe you can start something like that there in McAllen. For some, I don't know why everybody goes to the surrounding cities, and that's a huge mistake.
Yeah.
Like Mission, Far, Edinburgh, like do it in McAllen, bro. I mean, there's got to be there's tons of places, and I'm sure I know it's expensive, but there's got to be a space where you can find it's big enough and at the right budget to where you can, And I mean, if you have to charge $100 for the table, charge $100. I mean, if you actually promote, you get your butt out there, you pass out flyers, not just like, oh, let me take them to all the shops. No, like go out there and freaking put flyers on car windows at Target or whatever, and do radio ads. People think, oh, nobody listens to the radio, but they do listen to the radio.
Yeah.
You
Fact.
can do like iHeartRadio, which
Mhm.
that way they'll hear it on the app or on the actual car radio or whatever. There's a lot of things to do. That's one thing that I feel that the local, besides the obvious Ramsey, and I know Armando's done a pretty good job with his. But he built that up also. He's been going for about 5 years, 5 or 6 years now.
Mhm.
Um, JMV's in Harlingen is really good too. But I really feel like everybody that's coming up and trying to do new shows and new cons in the valley need to step up their game as far as the advertisement. That's what's lacking, is in my opinion, because there's been some great shows that people never even knew happened.
Yeah.
Like some of Pete Martinez's shows. I mean, he did a great job as far as like the vendors he got there, the attractions, like his last one in Harlingen. That I mean, I know it bombed, but I mean, he had that big Star Wars freaking AT-AT out there. He had the Jurassic Park dinosaur thing there. He had all the.
Yeah.
I mean, it was an awesome show. It's just nobody knew that it even went down.
I get you. So we got a lot going on in the chat. We have the Dragon Bros out of Brownsville, Texas. He ain't even in the valley. We got Adon. Well, this is Adon and his brother Isai. We got Jehu. Hopefully, Jehu, I'll message you, man. We'll get you on next week. We got Javier Keith saying how was the Enchuta Star Wars show? I haven't heard much of it. Then we got Jehu going with the library show. I didn't attend that one, man. I took a personal
Yeah,
for weekend Milligan
I
for
heard
Star Wars.
it was pretty bad. I mean, they had I think almost more than half the guests cancel on them, which is obviously it's out of the promoter's hands, but that I mean it looks really bad, and
Yeah.
that's gonna hurt the attendance. I mean, again, I wasn't there, but just from the people that I talked to, yeah, it was dead. It was a bust.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But you
as
see,
far
the
as
thing,
that Star Wars show
yeah,
or
no, I
whatever.
feel you. So the biggest thing when it comes to that, and I mean, a lot of people that are in the chat, from Dragon Bros to Javier, you know, Anthony, everybody that's pretty much here, pretty much owns are in that small business reselling business and stuff. It's a really hard thing, man, because it's all about being authentic and real, right?
Yep.
So like it's not what you talked about. You'll see some shows that advertise the hell out of it, and there's some that don't. Right. And it's kind of like, you have to have that good relationship with the city. You have to have that good reputation and you have to have the right people on board because you might have a partnership, but if you have that one person who's not really pulling their weight or develops a bad reputation, what's it called?
Yep.
That could be a big deal. You know what I mean? Because
Oh
once you
yeah.
start
Yeah.
burning your reputation, it becomes a big issue. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
You definitely have to protect your reputation in this business. You gotta you got to stay politically, like you got to stay just neutral on everything, on every subject. And when it comes to working with people that have bad reputations, you need to stay away. I mean, and you need to, and like I've had people approach me. I mean, I'm not gonna name names, but I've had people approach me to do stuff, and I mean, they've had bad experiences or people talk bad about them or whatever, and I just politely tell them, like, man, I'll try to support you. Like, I'll pass out flyers if you want to bring me flyers. You know, I'll share your stuff on my page or whatever, but I can't get into business with you just because, you know, I've worked hard to keep my name where it's at, and
Yeah.
you know, like I'm the only other person who's done a con in the valley that Ramsey lets do his show.
Yeah, what's up? And it's
if
so
you
funny
notice,
because I was
if you
gonna
notice,
transition. I was gonna transition to that, bro, because I don't know if a lot of people here know or not, but you did do a convention in Brazil, the Starbase, right? So
yep,
obviously you know about the talent canceling because I think we had like one or two people cancel when you were there. We got Nico, what's going on, Nico? And then we got Dragon Bro saying, best not to stay in it, bud. And then we got Jehu just laughing. But definitely, so you know, you did Starbase, right? Obviously, in Starbase you had some partners, and you know,
yep.
um, I mean that
My
was one
partners
of
were from out of town, so nobody knows them.
the nobody knew
uh,
him. But
but
what let's tie that
but
into like you know what we were talking about. So when it came to Starbase, the partnerships, I mean, obviously, you know, let's just talk about how that convention went, the steps behind it, things that you want to do, maybe on the next one that comes up or whatever you plan on doing.
yeah. I mean, I had some great partners. I kind of got talked into it. I wanted to start a small show. You know, I announced that I was going to do a show. I had already gone and booked the room and everything. So then my buddy Derek from Houston, he owns Ferguson Inc. He's a memorabilia guy. Um, he calls me up and he's like, "Hey man, you want to have Bob Lilly at your show?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, sure, that sounds cool." You know, he's like, "Yeah, I can bring in blah blah blah." So that from that conversation, then it goes to, well, let's do a con, let's do a full on con. So his business partner is Marco from Laredo, which he's the one who does the South Texas. It's not okay, not South Texas Comic Con, South Texas Collectors Expo.
Yeah,
So
STXC or STX.
yeah,
I don't know. Yeah, there's a
STXCE or
whole
something
bunch of
like
them.
that. Yeah. So he's been promoting shows for like 40 years. Like I've done his show since the 90s. Obviously he started small like Armando and then he built it all the way up to cons, you know. So you know, so they're business partners. And then so Derek asked me first, and then Marco came in and was like, well, you know, it's going to be tough because it's a short period. Like, you know, it was a short period of time to promote or whatever. Which that was one of our mistakes. We should have waited. You know, we should have at least 6 months to promote. You know, I think we did it in like 2 months, like two maybe 3 months at the most. So that was tough. The other thing I probably would, you know, one thing that I would do different is I would probably get investors or partners from the valley this time so they could help me more because
Mhm.
them being out of town, they really couldn't help me. So I was doing a lot of the stuff myself, you know, going here, going there, you know, trying to get sponsorships, trying to, you know, pay the city for the spot, and you know, just everything, pretty much anything, you know, handing out the flyers, doing this, doing that. Um, so a lot of the responsibility fell on me, and it was tough. So I would next time I would probably want to do business with somebody, you know, here local, or at least to where we have like we can hire people or get volunteers that could help us with a lot of that stuff. A lot of the like the, you know, handing out the flyers, this and that, like the obviously not the main steps, but some of the easier tasks that way that doesn't fall all on me or whatever. But Starbase was great. I mean, we it was a good experience. We, you know, again, we should have we should have promoted longer. Unfortunately, it was still when COVID was kind of a thing. Um, the bridge was still closed, so that hurt us. You know, Mexico couldn't come. Um, the Omicron variant, or whatever the heck it was, that like popped up like right before the show, so that kind of scared people. You
Yeah.
know, so that was a pain in the butt. But I mean, as far as like feedback, all the vendors loved it. All the vendors made money. You know, every vendor was like, "When are you gonna do another one?" I'm like, "Time out." Like we just like did
Hold
this.
on.
You know, my family really helped out. Like I mean, it was without my family and like, you know, some of Marco's people that he brought his family and stuff. I mean, we would have never got it done. Like my wife helped out in the concession stand, my sister-in-law in the concession stand. They also helped out with the vendor check-in. My brother-in-laws were helping with the celebrities. Picking them up from the airport, taking them to the hotel. So you need a lot of people. Like you need somebody to sit with every celebrity that you have,
Yeah, I need to handle it. Yeah.
count their autographs so they don't screw you, because they can say, oh, I only sold 20 autographs, but they really sold 100 or whatever.
Yeah.
So you have to have that many, as many guests you have to have that many people that are going to sit with them. So that was another thing that we had to, that I learned and all that stuff. You need people at the gate to collect the money from the people coming in.
Mhm.
So there's just it's a lot of moving parts. If anybody was there, you were there. I was running
Yeah.
around like a chicken without my head. Every time one problem would arise, I'd be on the way to fix that problem, and somebody would stop me on the way over there because something else happened, and I'd be like, okay, let me go do that real quick, and then I'll go back to that one. So
Yeah.
man, it was tough. But again, it was promising. All the vendors made money. Like I said, all the celebrities made money. I think we only missed guarantee on one person, which was Naomi Grossman from American Horror Story.
Okay.
We really thought people were gonna like her because they had, at the time, there was a new American Horror Story that was coming out that she was in, and of course people like Pepper, her character Pepper from the other ones. I think what hurt too with her is that her pop was like $100 pop, so you couldn't really
Yeah.
get like something to sign or whatever.
Yeah. Vaulted one and stuff. Yeah. I get you.
Yeah. So, but yeah, again, I would do it again. I would just need help. I would need more help, and we would probably charge more. Sorry, vendors, but we would probably charge more for the vendor booths. That was one thing that we did. The reason I charged so low was because I knew that we were gonna get a bunch of local vendors. We weren't gonna really attract the out of town vendors because we were a first year show, and there was other shows going on that same weekend in different parts of Texas that I
Mm.
know that a lot of my buddies that would have come down already were committed to the other shows.
Yeah.
So, and I know that, like, for guys like, I don't know if you know him, but there's a guy named Damian Flores. Like, that was his first like con.
Mm. Anthony.
Miguel, uh, if you know Miguel, I forget his last name, but I know you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah. Of course.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that was his first con.
Mhm.
Um, so like a lot of people, and now now they go to San Antonio, they go to Houston, they do, now they do cons because they did mine.
Mhm.
But again, they were like me, they had never paid a big amount, so we kept them under 200. But they really should have been like 350.
Bro,
That
you,
would
you,
have
char-
helped
you
out.
charged me like 400, bro. No, I'm just fucking with
Yeah, right.
you. Oh
The
man,
other thing is we would probably raise the entrance rate again. First time show, Brownsville never had one. They don't know that, if you've never gone to a out of town show, you don't know that most cons are $30, $40 to get in. So I didn't want to scare people off, so we did $15. So that's another, we'd have to raise the price. We would just have to. Like, it's not that we want to. We would just have to be able to break even or even profit.
yeah.
Obviously you want to profit, but if you could break even on a show like that's a success also.
It's still a win, right? So
Yeah.
we got Anthony saying my last show was in Midland, $10 drive, hella worth it. Dragon Brother saying 400, he charged us 600. Like Ed Don, you see. And then we
Uh,
have Gilbert
Dude,
saying hello.
I've heard good stuff about that Midland show. I just haven't gone. But yeah, we got to get to that Midland show.
Right. Yeah. I know you're always doing those type of what the da, 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 da. Oh man, I'm getting all these like spam notifications that you get on the messenger. Your
No, I
trademark infringing. That's fine. That's okay. What's it called?
don't even have music on. What are you talking
Yeah,
about?
bro, 100%. I'm like, I don't even know. Okay, but scammers, bro. But anyway, so getting back to it, Jesse. So Starbase was good. So obviously there are some lessons to be there. I don't want you to give out the whole tea, man. But I do want to just talk about it. So I know that was one thing that you did, and I remember seeing you running around. I remember telling Fred, like, man, fuck that. Like, like I was like,
Yep.
maybe like one or two people. I'm like, if maybe I could handle it, I don't. I mean, you never know. Like a lot of people can talk until they do it. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So like, I could tell you, like, parking lot events were awesome until my last one got shut down. Like I could run the parking lot event smooth, and then I get shut down by the city, and I'm like, okay, well,
Yeah, I mean,
we're gonna
I know you posted like, like
who's
who called
snitching,
us out
bro?
or whatever, who
Yeah,
snitched. But
who's snitching,
I
bro?
mean, really, dude, it doesn't. We did one at at my shop, and I know nobody snitched, and it wasn't even the full city, but the health department showed up,
Yeah.
and they were like, well, we had a bunch of like, we were gonna hand out like free waters, free cokes,
Yeah.
free chips. We were even gonna give out free hot dogs, and nope, they shut that down. They're like, nope, you need
Mhm.
a food permit or whatever. And they're like, you can do your little thing, because they were like, well, who owns the property? I was like, well, I own the property. That's the one thing that didn't get shut down, because I own the property. So
Yeah.
I'm like, well, I'm doing this is my property. Like I can do, I can do this. They're like, that's fine, but you can't serve any food, or we're gonna fine you. It's like, what?
Mhm. Yeah.
So yeah, so somebody
I'm gonna
might
do my
have,
grand opening at your plaza, bro.
right. So it might have just been somebody drove by and like was like, hey, are these guys allowed to do that?
Yeah, no shit, bro. It's all good, bro. I put it past me.
My Canon is a dude. Oh my god, dude. I'm
Yeah.
sure. I mean, I know opening the store. They require so much. You got to pass this inspection and pass that inspection just to get the damn lights turned on. It's like,
Yeah,
dude, are you
100%.
serious? I mean,
Yeah.
so I know McAllen is like, yeah, they're strict, bro.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. So, and then since you did do your grand opening there, you recently went through a remodel at your shop. So let's talk about your remodel. How was the remodel process? What are some things that you expanded on? What are you going big on? Let's talk about
Yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean, I really took this opportunity to restructure the shop. We used to be like big, the way you guys had like the whole wall of Funkos. Like we had that, we had that also. But I really wanted to expand my Hot Wheels selection, because I have a lot of Hot Wheel customers. Um, so now instead of doing the wall of Funkos, I have a wall of Hot Wheels.
Nice.
uh, we The whole process of doing the remodel was, oh man, I mean, it was tough, because it was hard. It was hard because, for one, I was still trying to do shows. I was still trying to do whatnot. I was still trying to do eBay, because obviously I had to keep the money coming in, because this is my full time job. I don't have a job, so trying to keep up with bills and do most of the work myself. Yeah, dude, it was rough. And then we had to, like, with the where my new location is, I was using it as storage, so I had to get like everything out of there, and then I had to get all the stuff that was in the existing shop out too. So it was like, where do I put all this stuff?
Mhm.
But dude, I was painting, I was freaking doing sheetrock, I was sanding the freaking countertops, and I mean, dude, I was a construction worker for about 6 months. But I mean, it was the only way I could do it without be afford to do it. Like I couldn't afford to hire a team. And we had to build a wall, and just that wall cost us $3,000. It was like, oh my god.
Yeah.
And then I was gonna do floors, but the floors were gonna cost another like $2,000. I was like, so I found out you could paint tile. Like, all right, we're painting the tile.
That's great. It's funny just because a lot of people that like in their industry, like, and you being in the business so long, and some of the other shops that we know have been in business longer, given where we're at in the economy, we have to cut down costs, right?
Yeah,
So we have to cut down that cost because that's how we're going to be competitive in pricing, right? So if I'm going to have, this fucking Inquisitor and it's going for X amount, but I paid X amount, I know where my margin's at. But if I have to build a wall or paint tile or whatever it is, like the labor costs money, bro. And a lot of customers don't give a fuck. They're just like, hey, this shit says $50. I'll give you like 30. And
yep,
you might have paid like $7 for it, but you're like, hey, bro, like, you like that wall fucking there with that fucking shit? Like, where you got it from? That wall costs money, bro. Like, and a lot of people
yep.
don't think about that. So, I mean, having to learn all that stuff is always a good thing. I know when my brother opened up his gym, he learned a lot about cement work and drilling the cement and so forth. And so it's just fun. We always did that. You know, the little meme like where the dad's holding the flashlight and shit. We're like,
Uh,
we're like how things fucking change. So,
Yeah,
but
and then, well, I had to, then you have to buy, like, I had to buy a lot of grid for the wall to hang the stuff, because I didn't want to do shelves. Like, I really wanted this one to look nice and clean, like a real, like, more boutique style, less merchandise, but more space, like open space, and and yeah, I mean, it's worked. I mean, everybody that comes in is like, oh man, the shop looks great, and it's wider, and you know they like the new direction that we're going into. We're doing a lot more Pokemon, a lot more sports cards. Um, we're kind of drawing back on Funko and action figures at the moment, but I mean, obviously, if things pop back off, I mean, we're still doing like certain brands, certain things that move well for us. So I mean, again, doing it so long, I know how to flow with the market. So if you were heavy on action figures, but now they're not selling, well, now you need to put your money into into cards, because that's what's moving quicker. So you just try to stay one step ahead of the market, man. You never want to be stuck holding the bag, as they say.
100%. So we got
With
Roy from Kaboom saying, "No one tells you keeping the shop looking fresh is a full-time job on its own." That's true, right? So nobody tells you that. So that's how that
because
Kaboom
I
comics
mean,
come out.
you gotta keep nice stuff in there. I mean, you gotta you want people to come in and be like, oh man, look at that, like, oh, that's awesome, and this looks awesome. I mean, obviously they're not, you want them to buy, but you also still want them to be like, oh man, that shop has like cool stuff in there. So we try to, like, a lot of things. Another thing too is I mean, maybe a little bit of a secret or whatever, but I don't care. Loose action figures is another thing I'm doing more of than carded nowadays. They just, it just seems like they sell faster when you put them in a display case pose. You put them in a fighting pose or whatever. Just make them look nice. Presentation is key. You know, and if you make things look good, look nice, people want it. Because then they envision it in their house. Like, oh man, I can do that too. Like I could put it on my shelf like that or whatever. Or I can put them fighting. Maybe they have a certain villain and now they need a hero to fight or whatever. So then they'll buy that. So that's another thing I'm kind of transitioning over to, and comic books, way more comic books than we did before. And yeah, man, I mean, it was just, again, you got to keep it fresh. You got to keep the shop, going with what people were asking for.
Very true. We got Ram Fabian saying, Browntown in the house. Jesse is the man with that cold face. So,
yeah, what up, Fabian?
You got a lot of your customers on here, man. So,
yeah, man, that's cool. It's cool that they're
like,
watching.
Why aren't you at the card show? No, I'm fucking.
Yeah, Fabian, that guy, Ram Fabian, man, he's actually one of the guys that really got me some inventory as far as the cards. I mean, he likes to open a lot of stuff. He was opening a lot of stuff, so he would get his big hits and then bring me the junk. I mean,
bring you the not so big hits.
Like I got boxes, dude. I've got boxes and boxes of stuff he's brought me that it's nobody's. But it's not like he was charging me an arm and a leg or anything, and I could pull out X amount of cards of rookies and dollar cards or whatever. But I mean, you start somewhere, right? Like, not everybody's going to start buying $100,000, $200,000, $300,000 cards or whatever. You got to start with the dollar cards, the 50-cent cards, whatever. So he really helped me build up my like cheap stuff, cheap inventory. So thanks, Fabian. Open up some more stuff, man. Some of your junk.
Keep buying, man. Keep buying. So, talking about that, Jesse. So, you've done some things in the past, and I have to bring this up, bro, because this is one thing that I talked to. I think I told my brother, and I told some other people, is you've been in the game so long, bro. We have to talk about the old eBay. So, because I didn't know this, bro. Like, and I've only been doing this like 7 years, bro. And when you brought up the thing about eBay, I was like, damn, that's fucking crazy. So explain to us how eBay worked back then and now.
Yep. So for those who don't know, eBay got started because a guy, his wife collected Pez dispensers, and he wanted a way to be able to get her like stuff that she needed for her collection. So he started eBay. Obviously, this is pre-digital cameras, early days of the internet. So you would have to actually go on there. You make your listing basically the same way you do now, but you wouldn't be able to upload photos. So you'd have to basically write a paragraph of this figure. Let's just say, we'll do Funko Pop, right? We'll do Batman Funko number 672, SDCC exclusive, has tiny tear on top right corner, has little ding on the bubble or whatever. Like you'd have to explain every little thing that was on, that you felt was wrong with the item, so that when you sent it to the person, they didn't get pissed off or anything. But then again, they really would have been not been able to do anything in those days because people would send you money orders. That's how you would get paid. So there was a lot of eBay sellers that would do only accept USPS money orders, like from the post office money orders, because those are harder to counterfeit. Because of course, and if you can scam, there's always going to be scammers, right? So even back then, people would make fake money orders, like print them out or whatever, send you a fake money order. You'd send them the item, and then uh, you try to cash it, and then it's not real or whatever. But again, people could scam and not even send the item. I mean, you were trusting that you're going to send this guy a money order, and he's going to send you the toy or whatever it is that you bought, you know. But yeah, man. I mean, it was like you. I actually didn't have enough money for a computer, and they used to have this thing called Internet TV. It was weird. It was just like, so I guess basically it was like just like a router or something that you would connect to your TV. Your TV would be your screen, and you had to buy like a keyboard adapter, and so you could type, and it was on the TV. That was like my first experience on selling on eBay, and obviously it advanced to where you could put pictures and all this stuff, and then so another thing that people would do is they would run up a bill because eBay also they would charge you, but you would have to write them a check and mail them a check for your fees. If you didn't mail the check, then they would cut your account. But I mean, most people would run it up until they cut them off, and then they make another email, make a new account, and they just keep doing it. So that's when eBay started the whole credit card thing. If you were a seller, you had to put your credit card, and then they would charge your credit card your fees at the end of the month or whatever. Now, I mean, they take it instantly. Obviously they got their own pay program. They take their piece instantly before they even give you your money. Um, but yeah, dude, those are the crazy old eBay days, man. I mean, you had to write a paragraph. You got money orders. You sent stuff
Hey,
out.
did you ever get scammed, bro? Don't lie.
Actually, no, because I've never. I'm not a big buyer on eBay.
No.
Like, yeah. So I never really bought anything on there. It was more selling. I just sold, and then I wish I still had that account from back then because, dude, I probably have like freaking million feedback by now or something.
That's great. I don't know. I had to bring that up because I know when we were doing the little pre-call and stuff, that just it fascinated me, man. But
Yeah, dude.
um, I don't want to keep you too long, man. I know you're on the show. I know you're tired after a long day. So before we wrap everything up, man, what's kind of the future for Culture Shock? Like, are you planning on doing store signings? How much of the secrets you want to give away? Are you going to try to do more local shows? Like, what is that you want to do this coming year? Because we're January 19th, 19 days into the new year, barely 3 weeks. What's your
Yeah,
plans? What are
yeah.
your
I mean,
goals?
I definitely want to start doing more local shows if I can. Obviously, I do the out of town shows just because there's more opportunity to make more money. But I kind of feel like I've lost a little bit of a connection with my local collectors because they don't see us as often, and they see the people that do the local shows. They see them all the time, so they're more inclined to go support them versus coming to me because they don't see me that often. So I do want to show my face more. I do want to do more events at the shop, whether it be little parking lot events or store signings or whatever. I mean, all that stuff's still in the works, but we definitely we want to utilize the space that we have now. We want to definitely do more things for the community. Bring in. I definitely want, like, I've been wanting to do it for the last few years, like do toy drives, like for during Christmas. Like I want to help out more, like as far as like charity work and stuff like that. Like use the shop to help, like the kids and stuff like that. But yeah, man. I mean, we got a lot of plans, and it includes all of the above. Store signings, uh, you know, parking lot events, trade nights, just everything. And obviously, keep traveling, keep expanding our card and our memorabilia. collectors, or our fan base for that. Hopefully grow the YouTube channel and our Instagram and all that. Uh, yeah, I mean, it's just just keep going. I mean, I don't want to ever get to a point where I'm like, you know, like you look at Zobi, something like Zobi. He started same where we are, and now he's doing like over. Last time I talked to him, he said he does over 5 million a year, and that sounds awesome. But that also comes with a lot of headaches.
Yeah.
So I don't feel like I want to get to that level, but I definitely want to get to a point where I can pay my bills comfortably. I can buy stuff. People bring collections or whatever. I can buy without like worrying, like, oh man, I'm gonna use all the money I have in the bank for this collection or whatever. Hopefully, I can get to a point where it's a lot smoother. And I really think, I really think we can get there for sure. Whatnot, and eBay, and all that stuff is definitely gonna help. So yeah, man, we're just pushing. We got through the rough time last year, and the future's looking up. So we're just hoping to keep on going.
I get you. I get you. And the next biggest thing, before we kind of log off here, man, what do you think about the integrated technology, bro? Like when it comes to technology, in today's world, like, do you feel like you need to be more relevant, like on TikTok, YouTube, podcasting is another example. You know what I mean? Like things that you can enjoy while you're doing it. Do you feel like that's a big part of it now? Do you feel like because I know we talked about before, you're like, I'm a pretty tech savvy guy, man, for my age, and it's true, like, because there's some. I always laugh, bro, because when I worked at Walmart, like, I would have ladies that are like, I can't use this device. I'm like, do you have Snapchat and Facebook? They're like, yeah, like you can use it. Like you if you give a shit enough, like you're gonna use it, and then like they would get all mad and stuff. But it's just true, you know what I mean? And us as a business, the more screen time we have, the better for us, right? Whether it's gonna be promote information, entertainment, or whatever it might be. What do you think about technology now and the leveraging it for what you're doing?
Yeah, no, definitely. I mean, it's you have to do it. I mean, you have to, as far as like social media, all that stuff. You have to do it, and as far as technology is on the business side of it, we gotta. I know a lot of us are lazy. I'm real bad with it. But there's a lot of tools out there for us to be able to keep control of our inventory and really know like what we're making. Like, because right now I don't even think that we know what we're making. Like we buy these things and we make this money, but we don't really know. Oh, did you profit 5 grand this year? Did you profit 10 grand? Like, did you not profit? Did you lose money? Like we don't. I don't keep books good enough to know that. So I need to use the technology that's available to be able to do that. But as far as social media, I feel people, if they like you, like if they like your posts, they like your videos, they like your reels, they're more inclined to come and see you, come visit you. We definitely see it when we're out of town. My wife always jokes, she's like, "Man, you're more famous out of town than you are in the valley." I'm like, yeah, I mean, it's kind of true, but again, because we've been doing shows for like the last 10 years, as far as like doing cons, and we do all the same cons every year. So the customers that go to the shows every year see us and they know us, and they're like, "Oh yeah, I saw your YouTube video of this, that, blah, blah." And even with only 200 subscribers, it's crazy that people do tell me like, "Hey man, yeah, I follow you. I subscribe to your channel, or I follow you, or whatever." And I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's not, that's not the reason why I do it. I do it just to promote the shop. But yeah, you got to do it, man. You can't sit on the sidelines of that kind of stuff if you want to be successful.
Yeah. Very cool, very cool. So again, guys, as we're wrapping it up, everything, my brother's put in here. Hire Marilla CPA PLLC. She take care of all your books. She's a forensic CPA. She does a lot of that stuff.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, me and my brother always arguing, bro. I love the guy to death, but what's it called? He's gonna be calling me afterwards and be like, "You're talking shit." I'm like, "Well, I'm talking facts, man." That's good. So, but no, yeah, definitely, you want to get things done right, especially to progress to that $5 million level, right? You got to do the little things right. But again, guys, we got Culture Shock Collectibles out of Brownsville, Texas. The address is at the bottom of the ticker, guys. So 2120 East Price Road, Suite C. Brownsville, that's the correct address, right? Because that's what was on your Facebook.
Yes, that is correct.
I could ask you before, bro. I was like, but if you guys haven't checked them out, they're down there in Brownsville. Are you near Dragon Bros, bro? You near it down in Isai or no?
We're like down the street from each other. Maybe a block away, a couple blocks away.
Just
Uh,
to be like, come
shout
to
out
mine first.
Shout out to the homies, Dragon Bro, Isai Yadan, great guys. And I saw their podcast, and they're not lying, man. They got the best barbacoa in the valley.
I was about to ask you, bro. I was like, is the barbacoa really that good, bro? Is it that
It,
good?
it is, and you can get it all week. You don't gotta wait
Yeah.
till Saturday or Sunday. Dude, there
Hey,
was one time, like legit, I probably was in there every day for a year, at least a year, like every single day. Like in the beginning, they were hooking me up with oh yeah, don't worry about it, man. I got it. Don't worry about it. And then I was there every day, so they were like, okay, man, yeah, you gotta pay now. But
That's
no, man,
great.
I love those guys. We got a great relationship. You know, shout out to Henry Toys too, Jehu.
Yeah.
We're road dogs. We see each other at almost every show.
Hey,
He's
Jehu's
another
hopefully gonna
one.
be on, bro. He should be on, hopefully.
Yeah,
So
cool, man. No, I mean he's another one, man. Another OG. I mean, I've seen him. We've seen each other grow from like our little tables at J&B or whatever to these huge setups that we do at these cons, And now he's got his own shop too. So yeah, proud of Henry, proud of Henry, proud of the guys, Um, but yeah, man. I mean, it's a good thing to have. We should all help each other. I feel like we should all help each other out because we all kind of specialize in something different,
Mhm.
Yeah, we all might have similar items, but like I'm like now I'm becoming like the card guy or whatever. So like people can send me like I'm looking for cards. Okay, go to Jesse. I know people are looking for. Well, I don't know if he's still doing. I would always send everybody to go get games at Dragon Bros. I'm not sure if I know they had that whole deal with the game guy, but people are looking for games. I'd send them over there. If they had a pop that I didn't have, I'd send them, customers. And I feel like we should all be that way with each other. I mean, I know a lot of people. There's a lot of animosity and a lot of jealousy, and it really shouldn't be that way. There's enough money for everybody to make in this business. You just gotta. If you're not making money, don't look at the other guy. Look at yourself. Look in the mirror, because it's not the other guy.
Ooh, I like that. That's gonna be a real, bro. I like that. That's good. That's good. That's good. What's it called? Very cool, Jesse. Wealth of knowledge, man. But hopefully, man, we'll get you on if you do an event, parking lot event or whatever. We'll get you on before the podcast. We'll do the best to promote. Anthony said, when I started, I was borrowing Sharpies to price last minute. After 3.5 years now, I have my own shop, and I appreciate you 100%, bro, Migo. So, and then we got Issei saying we always message each other, give it a chance to see if there's certain things to refer peeps over. And it's true, Jesse. And it's like the community. The community is gonna stay the same. It's just about who's just gonna give them the better deal.
Yep.
And that's gonna be the biggest thing. Whether they're gonna look for you outside of Texas, right? They're stopping at Big Texas Comic Con. They're like, "Fuck yeah, Jesse's here," Or
Yep.
they're gonna do something like J&V or United and be like, "Oh fuck, fucking David's here," whatever. But we owe it to the community to do the right thing.
Yes, sir. Yeah, exactly.
But anything else you want to say before we?
You say that they're looking for the best price, and a lot of times they are looking for the best price. But if they like you more and you have it maybe $5 more than the other guy, but they like you, they're still gonna buy it from you. So that customer relation and building the relationships, like you got to be nice to everybody. You got to even if you feel they're a little weird or whatever. I mean, not to say anything like that, but just sometimes people are awkward or whatever. You still gotta be like you're the nicest person that you can to that person, and make them feel comfortable. And if they feel comfortable with you, they'll come back.
Definitely. Anything else you want to say before we sign off here, Jesse? Any last shout outs? Anything?
I mean, just shout out to everybody. Shout out to all the homies. We're out here representing Brownsville and then the Valley and Dallas. So we make sure people know that the 956 is represented all over Texas. So
that's right. Puro 956, cuz.
That's right, man. And we're still rocking the cowboy gear, even though we got our butts kicked.
That's fucking right, bro. Win, lose, or draw. But all right, Jesse, I appreciate it. We'll hopefully catch you on the next one, man. Everybody else have a good night, guys. Thanks for joining us. Make sure you check out Culture Shock Collectible, guys. I'll have all the links on the YouTube, and again, the address is 2120 East Price Road, Suite C in Brownsville, Texas, in the United States, right? So,
yes, sir.
All right, guys. Yeah, have a good night, guys.
Thanks, everybody. Peace.